We stand for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Peter Somerville, Town Councilman. Brandon Arkin, Town Councilman.
John Dolce, Town Supervisor.
Andrew Clark, Town Attorney.
Randy Bates, Town Council.
And Brian Wood is absent. Any audience comments, please? Lynn, were you gonna read?
Do you want me to?
Please,
Oh, okay. All right.
come up to the podium so we
Okay.
can hear.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Lynn Love. I'm a resident of Medusa, just up the hill. I've lived in Rensselaerville since 2008. And I'm here this evening in my brand new role as president of the board of directors of the Hike Preserve. I've been a director of the Hike Preserve for 7 years, so the preserve itself is not new to me. This leadership role is. I'm here to follow up on a report, an engineering report that we shared with the town a couple of weeks ago, and a letter that we submitted with the report. The report, in case you haven't seen it, is an engineering report that we undertook about a year ago, following up on a noise in the lower level outlet pipe that takes water from the lake, Myosotis, down to the other side, basically. And it's been known to have a leak for several years. In 2018, it was also looked at. We decided to take a closer look at it and think about, the seriousness of it and the possible solutions. So this report is really a kickoff to the possibilities for replacing the lower level outlet. And I'm here tonight to do a presentation. I just wanted to make sure that you knew who I was. I'm also here with my colleague, Diana Hinchcliffe, who's a resident of the town of Rensselaerville. She's also on the Hike board. She's a member of the Facilities and Dam Committee of the Hike Preserve. And she and others of the preserve are the people who think about what needs to happen with the dam and the water. So again, I'm not here to make a presentation. I did come in and speak with John earlier this week. We took a look at the report in a preliminary way together. You raised a couple of questions that I'm gonna get some answers to. And I just want to let you know that we're in partnership on the dam and the water as it relates to us as an organization and to the community. And so we're open for dialogue. I think that we'll continue either as a couple of individuals or as a group, as we both see fit, but we're very much open for dialogue and want to be in partnership with the town on this. Okay?
Thank you. Any other audience comments, please? If none, we'll move on to the minutes of the November 14th meeting.
I move we accept the minutes from the November 14th regular meeting.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion's carried. So there's one budget modification from This is budget amendment number 6 of 2024 from 02775, which is unclassified revenue, $44,000. And we're moving it to, we'd like to move it to 5130-22450 is the truck fund, $44,000. This money was what Jason got from the state
County.
County. for the culvert pipes, which originally was $40,000, and then they agreed to an extra 10%, hence the $44,000. So we need a motion on this. I make a motion to accept or to perform this budget amendment. I'm an aye.
I'll second it.
Eddie's aye. Pete
Aye.
and
Aye.
Brian's absent. Okay. So that's taken care of. I'll make a motion to pay all signed vouchers and bills.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, I have two things for my. The Rensselaer Playground, Becca Platel spearheaded a $10,000 grant which we received from the tennis club. And that's from the Tennis Association. I don't know the actual name. So we received the $10,000, which brings the money that she has collected to about $42,000. So good for her. I spoke to her about the rest of it. She asked the town for $10,000. We budgeted $2,500 in the playground fund. And the rest, I said she should put in a request for the boat fund. And we'll see where that goes. The other thing is the Rensselaer Playground turns into a pond at certain times. So I received correspondence from one of the citizens that live across the road. And I reached out many times to Lisa Raimondo, and she's yet to respond because, Randy, you would know better. So the county's supposed to be involved, the town, you know, it's not something that the town could do.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
We need the county's help.
Yeah, it's the county's culvert, which is creating the obstruction, which in terms creates the flooding. So we'd have to be involved in the modifications to fix that.
Jason, is Lisa the only contact you have?
I have the deputy's contact information. I have the engineer's contact information.
If you could pass that on to me, because she's not responding. And I did tell the citizen that we would definitely see what we could do about it.
All right.
At least,
I'll see you Tuesday. Tuesday I'll come in with those.
Okay. Okay, and really, that's the most important things that I have. So that's my report.
I make a motion to accept the supervisor's report.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Is Brian here? Oh, there he is. Everybody get different glasses, huh?
His glasses?
Brian, you have anything to report?
Well, luckily, no, there's not much to report. Everything is going according to budget. We have, as usual, the same few things that have gone over budget. I'll have to meet with you next couple of weeks to do a budget amendment to move $20 here, $20 there to clean up the little odds and ends. And then there's a $5,000 overage in elections that we've known about. I was just talking with Jason, his budget looks good, so as long as there's no big disasters in the next few weeks,
Okay.
we're gonna do very good.
so everyone knows during the year, I don't do budget amendments because then we lose sight of where we're over and where we're under. So I don't do it every week or every month. I'd rather wait till the end of the year so we have a clear picture. Where do we go over? What do we have to adjust? And did we over budget? So that's the reason
You
why.
know, I work with a bunch of other towns where they do that every time they're over, and it just leads to every month, they keep going over and over. And it seems like now, if you're $11 over, you're gonna stay $11 over. And that's it.
All right, I make a motion to accept the accountant's report.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Andrew Clark, the attorney.
So I'll keep ours brief. Majority will be focused on the Bogue Fund. I'm not sure when the last update was given to this board, but the court did its procedure. The cypre was granted, so now we can move those funds to a different trustee, which is the major hurdle we were trying to overcome during this whole process. We've been in contact with the Community Foundation, which is a suitable trustee. They do this sort of things for a lot of other municipalities, so it's not their first time doing it. They presented two different structures of the fund, and that's primarily focused on the investment side of it. It would not really impact the town side. It would just be how the money's invested behind the scenes and how it comes back. There were two different options presented by the Community Foundation, which I think will be looked into at some executive session at some point in time.
Yeah.
But that is moving forward, and I think we were waiting for another financial institution to submit a sort of RFP as to what they can do, if they can match this or do better. So we will wait to see and inform the town board if anything else happens.
So I want to just comment on that. Unfortunately, there's not much else that us as a board could do, but this community fund or any trustee, the fee comes out to about $8,200 annually.
That makes no sense. Then why are we putting all the money in someplace where we're gonna take all the earnings? We've already earned up to $50,000 without charging anything to the fund, just by keeping it in our account. So why are we gonna give it up somewhere where it's high risk in the stock market and we're losing money on it? That doesn't make any sense to me.
And
Well, this project did start before my involvement, so I don't know the exact intent behind it. But I think the idea was to get out of that general municipal and open it up to more avenues of investment. Now, the community fund, they have the endowment fund option where it's guaranteed not to go into the principal of it, so it would never dip below, and you are guaranteed a certain rate of return. But obviously, your point is not lost on me, where
that's
it
the,
seems like a good thing. Why mess with it? But the idea was to potentially make it better and keep the fund growing and provide for more opportunities in the town.
so the last conversation I had with the attorney is I wanted to know what the rate of return is historically. So right now we're getting 3.5%, and that's how we came up with 50 grand.
Mhm.
Now, if it's 3.5% and we're giving up 8,
You know,
of course. But Bill has stated many times that there's a technicality that I don't think any of us understand, no matter how much he's explained to us, like why. I still don't have an answer for you. And you know that, we've talked about it many
Because I've
times.
seen this in other towns and other school districts, when they got a grant, they just keep it right on their books.
The issue
We just don't spend the principal.
The issue with this was how the trust left it to the town. They left it in an endowment fund where we were not really authorized to use it at all because it wasn't producing enough, and the Attorney General.
Oh, so it's in
Got
the wording of the guys.
Yes, and there's,
Oh,
that's why we had to go back and amend the terms of this endowment fund he set up. It is very in the minutia of it all, when I know we're looking at the numbers saying, why does this matter essentially? But it was enough to get the Attorney General's office involved and say you have to do it this way with a separate trustee if you want to keep investing it.
So my understanding is by going this route, we're gonna get a higher interest rate than 3.5%.
And we're gonna spend 8,000.
Yeah. Well, that was the last I ended up with the attorney. I wanted to know what the historic rate of return has been. And to get the other $8,000, you're gonna need another 1%. So from 3.5, we're gonna have to go to 4.5, just to break,
Just to cover the 8,000.
just to cover the 8,000.
All right. And I hope you don't invest in something.
Well, the town does get to opine on the statement of investment policy where you can kind of guide what they will be doing, what you're agreeing to upfront, and then you would essentially be signing it over to them for them to effectuate that investment policy. Now, has that historic rate of return been provided to you? If
No,
not,
not
okay,
yet. Not yet. So,
then we'll get that.
but that's, I'm not laying down on this.
Okay.
$8,200 is a lot of money.
And what do they do?
Yes, but
I mean,
didn't they specify in the
administer
beginning
the
we couldn't
fund?
do any
Yes.
risky investments?
So they,
But with this, that we can,
But this
right,
weekend-
Andrew?
sorry, I missed
So
that.
as a township, we have to invest in certain,
Like CDs and,
right,
yes.
but by going with this
You're, then you're not limited by that law. And that was specifically in the court's decision and order. They said this Bogue fund will not be subject to GML 11. That's the law
was the
that
whole
keeps it in
thing.
there.
But does the law say we have to take it and put it into that? What if we do, what if we want to keep it treasury bills?
Then it couldn't have been used for the purposes we wanted to use it for. That was the issue. Because the endowment fund had no specific purpose, so we also sought to reform it. So the fund could be used for the Bogue requests that have been put in for the general public, and the betterment of the
My thing
town.
is I just don't like spending any money, so
Hmm.
when I see
So I
$8,000
see-
going out.
So I will follow up about this historic rate of return. I thought that might have been provided, but we have the contact person now, so we'll make sure you get it.
Okay,
And we don't have to make any decisions now.
Yeah,
We
no.
haven't for a while.
well, I've read all this.
My question to Andrew
Sure.
is, what service would the community foundation provide?
Basically, everything on the back end, they would just send the town the distribution at whatever interval we decide. And then the town would to the places or
Right, but what
public
about,
works.
what about board of trustees? Would there be a board?
Well, no, it would be handled by the community
Because if
foundation.
we were to keep it in-house, we would have to establish a board of trustees, correct?
Yes, but we can't exactly keep it in-house. That was the whole issue with the Attorney General.
They didn't give us that option, did they, to keep it in-house?
No,
No.
they told us we need to get a separate trustee.
Right, managed outside.
All right. I know you're not very familiar with it. I'm gonna
No,
say,
no, if you have any other questions, I can answer now, fire away, or try to.
no, right now we have to review all this paperwork, but I just wanted to bring out the point of the cost. But naturally, if they could invest in riskier investments to increase the rate of return without compromising the principal, that's something we have to weigh out. But I still don't think we still needed a trustee.
Our bank wasn't willing to be the trustee, really.
They're not allowed to. I call them naturally. And
But yet the Bank of Boston Spa can do it.
there's a certain licensing.
Yeah, they're registered with, you have to get registered with the Charities Bureau and sign up as a trustee. And a lot of financial institutions, if they aren't doing it already, they probably don't want to.
All right,
All right.
Okay, and I,
End it.
I don't have an update on the bond issue. Was there any
so,
specific question there?
so this I want to clarify. So we have $80,959 that the water district owes to the town,
Hmm.
correct? Okay. So we don't want to wait we want to clear that debt up by getting a bond. There's going to be more bonds further down the line for other projects, even though we got grants and interest-free loans, but that's still not guaranteed that we're getting that. Bill is working on that Department of Health,
Right.
PFA, what does it stand for? Remember, we needed something else from Bill, which I,
to come to an agreement with the EFC on something they call what project financing or something or other,
right,
PFA, project financing agreement, I believe is what the acronym stands for.
and we have till March
Right.
25 to get that accomplished.
So are you looking to see where that is, where we stand?
No,
on
I
getting
know
the
where it
agreement?
stands, we're not,
Okay. We're not there yet.
So when Bill comes back, I hope he enjoys his vacation because we're gonna have a ton of things for him. So this bond is very important. The Bank of Greene County will write the bond. But we emailed him the other day, the exact dollar amount, $80,959, and that's what we want the bond for. Right? Okay.
Well, I think that concludes my report.
Yeah,
I'll move, we accept the attorney report.
And second,
all in favor?
All right.
Aye, motion carried. Okay, the highway.
Good evening, everybody. Report's pretty short and simple. Snow, snow, snow. That's what we've been dealing with. All the equipment is holding together really nicely. Everything is up and operational, and with the exception of truck 2, which is over to Hilltown truck with 2 failed injectors they're putting in it, but pretty minor in the grand scheme of things. Truck 00 sold this week for $6,100. That was $1,500 more than what we got for it in the spring. So we went ahead and accepted the bid, and that truck will be leaving next week. Albany County Soil and Water gave us a surprise of an additional $4,000. We had requested $40,000. They had some leftover money, and they agreed to fund some additional expenses that we submitted. So we received a check from them for $44,000. Transfer station. Everything's running fairly smoothly here. In your packet, you'll find some pictures of a container that's currently listed on Auctions International. I took a ride today to take a look at it. It's located in Ware, Massachusetts. It's a 22-foot trash container. If I had to rate the condition, I'd say it's 95% perfect. It's been sitting there for 15 years unused on blacktop. So we went up today, took a look at it, looked at the cross members on the bottom. There's still some paint on the cross members, so it's in excellent condition. We measured up the door, and we need a little bit of altercation, but basically it's the same unit as what we have, other than the fact that it's a 22-foot container rather than a 24-foot container. I pulled a invoice from the container we have, which we purchased in 2021. That trash compactor container we paid $12,285 for. With the board's permission, I'd like to go ahead and bid on this container in the range of, I'm thinking about $5,000. And if we could get it, we do have $10,000 in the specialty equipment line at the transfer station. I think it would be a good addition. The one thing I like about it is being a 22-foot container. when we originally put everything out to bid, we had several companies who were interested in hauling our trash. They were not interested in hauling our 24-foot containers. They'd prefer a 22-foot container because that's a standard container length. So once we replace that, once we have one of these, the next time we purchase a recycling container, we would be set up with two 22-foot containers, which I think would broaden the number of people who would be willing to bid on the transport of trash. So
And we have another 24 that's not usable.
we have another 24-foot container that has a spare. It is in usable condition, but it is showing its age. A lot of the cross members are rotted, and the bottom cross members are rotted. But I think that this is an opportunity we will need a new container probably within the next few years as a spare. We have to have two containers. If Colin's truck goes down, we'll fill a second container. We drop a second container outside, or if there's a weather problem or an issue, and then he'll haul two containers. So the idea to have two containers is a good idea. I was thinking that if we put a bid in on 5,000, it would be a good value. Obviously, we'd have to go and get it. It is in Ware, Massachusetts. So it's a little bit of a haul, so thered be some cost there. And there is also I think, don't hold me to it. I think it's a 7% buyer's premium through Auctions International additionally. So I mean,
Then we have to pay Collins for haul.
correct. I think there would be, savings out of that. Currently, it's at about $1,000, so I don't know what it'll actually go for.
What is it at now?
I don't know, a little over $1,000, $1,200, I think. So I just think it's a good opportunity to possibly save us some money in the future. I don't know.
You never know.
I don't know, but I think it's worth a shot, and I think 5,000 is a reasonable figure, and see what happens.
And that container's probably 15 grand today.
It's 12,021, so yeah.
Yeah, do you wanna go higher?
Oh, that's up to the discretion of the board. We do have $10,000 budgeted in the specialty equipment line that we have not used this year, so there is money there in available.
I'm moving, make a motion to allow Jason to bid up to $10,000 for this container.
Okay,
I'll second it. Yeah.
Yeah. All in favor? Aye.
very good, thank you. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention, we had a gentleman out to service our waste oil furnace again. Just an annual service. He did a lot to it this time, but the inside of the firebox is definitely showing a lot of rot and problems. So I think we need to, with the board's permission, I'd like to get some quotes and a plan on a replacement of that unit. The firebox itself is just has holes that have been patched up. Occasionally we'll get a backdraft of the fumes inside the building. So I think that something really needs to be addressed. And then the question becomes whether we should replace the unit with another unit very similar, or whether we should consider replacing it with two smaller units held on both ends of the shop and eliminating the fuel oil furnace. That way we would have the chances of both of them going out at the same time would be minuscule, which would also free us up some room in the shop because we could move one of the fuel oil tanks down to underneath the mezzanine out of the way, give us some more wall space, and probably go to a centralized oil tank. So if with your permission, I'd at least like to have a couple companies out, take a look at it, what their thoughts are, and get some
At
quotes
least
on it.
get quotes, because if that waste oil here goes down, the fuel oil cost is gonna be tremendous to heat that.
Yeah. Randy, I know you have a lot of experience with it out there, but what are your thoughts in regards to possibly going to 2 units versus 1, or
Everything too, because it's, the problem is contamination of fuel typically.
Yep.
That causes the unit to go down. I mean, it's pretty easily repairable, but not instantly. So 2 smaller units, I think, would be prudent. And also that unit's 15 years old.
at least, yeah.
At least, so that's about the service life of a unit. So yeah, I would.
And there are currently 2 existing chimneys on either ends of the shop because we had an additional oil furnace down here that has been removed. We'd be able to we have another oil furnace that we could then pull out. I think with 2 waste oil furnaces, the likelihood of both of them going down at the same time would be minuscule. And we would be, and if for some reason we did run out of waste oil, which has not been a problem, they can be filled with fuel oil to heat the shop, so.
Absolutely.
You need a motion?
No, I just wanna, I'll start the ball rolling and we'll get some numbers and some figures and we're not in, immediate need to replace it, but it needs to be a project, so.
Next week when it doesn't work, there'll be an immediate need. So
Yeah.
I would get on it sooner than later.
All right.
I move we accept the highway recycling report. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Alright.
Aye. Victoria, the town clerk report.
For the month of November, everybody has the numbers. We stopped collecting water and sewer rents as of October 31st, so there's zero rents for November, and there will be zero rents for December as well. Everything's going smoothly. We're preparing for tax season. Albany County Legislature has to meet, scheduled to meet on Monday, the 16th. So we'll be verifying rates and numbers and figures, re-levies, et cetera, et cetera. Pete is still out, but he has been working remotely still, so he's a phone call and a text away if we need anything. So far so good with tax prep. And later on the agenda, I will need authorization to place a legal notice for the tax collection in the paper. But we can address that in a little while. Otherwise, that's it. We're doing well.
I move we accept the town clerk's report.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Code enforcement, building inspector.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The November building and planning report, in permits, permit renewals and file searches, we took in $466. There's a dozen complaints over the month. Resident contacts, emails, phone calls, about 30. We have a demolition for an unsafe structure on Sayer Road that is, we've been working with our legal team and the court, and as of today, that job is down and almost completely cleaned up. The contractor took the house down this week.
On Sayer Road?
Yeah,
Hale Road, isn't it?
Hale Road, sorry,
Huh?
Hale Road.
sorry, Flansburgh,
Oh,
sorry,
it
man.
was like Sayer Road.
Oh my God.
I'd get up and kiss you.
No, it doesn't get that good. It doesn't get that good. One subdivision at the planning board. Kathy and I are closing out files for 24, but I wanted to make a reminder, clean your chimneys. Everybody in town, you're responsible for your chimneys. I hope that people are doing that on a regular basis. And mostly in the hamlet, the sidewalk snow removal is up to the homeowner to maintain your sidewalk in front of your house. You have to get it shoveled within 24 hours of a storm. Thank you to some of you people who have been shoveling. I really appreciate that, but I went to the hamlet a couple days ago, before yesterday when it was 50, and there was 80% of it was not shoveled. People were just walking in the streets and just like the sidewalks don't exist. But we do have sidewalks on both sides of the road, and it's the homeowner's responsibility to take care of that. So we appreciate your help with that. Getting down to bare sidewalk, salt and sand. And that's it. I would correct that Sayer Road too.
Yeah,
Hale
really. Just so you know, Sayer Road is a project that we've got DEC, NCON, attorneys to get this hazardous waste site cleaned up. It's never happened. That's why I was very happy to read that.
Sorry.
What a letdown, right?
One at a time, man.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to accept the code enforcement report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I don't have,
There is no.
there's no assessors report. Water sewer.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I expected to say a bit more about what I've been reporting on regarding the dam and the low-level outlet, but thank you for making that unnecessary, Lynn, for coming in, providing that information that you did. And although the water district, well, I guess the water district has some skin in this because of that low-level outlet. It has two purposes. One, as a safety or emergency release from the lake if it's flooding, and the other is to provide water to the water district if the lake is low, because it's no longer, water's no longer coming over the spillway. So the water committee can and will participate any way that we can in discussions or help with that. And you probably also know that we've been participating in the high hazard mitigation plan that prevented the hike from submitting a grant, I guess a couple years ago. We'll be on that high hazard mitigation plan this year or in 2025. So maybe there's an opportunity to go back to that well.
The town is now participating in the high hazard
Right.
mitigation. Yep, we, before the comment period closed in October, the Hike Preserve put comments in.
I saw that.
Supporting the town and, you know, some of the projects that would relate to
Right.
the dam and shared responsibility.
Good.
So hopefully, yes.
There doesn't appear to be a date when we'll hear about that yet, but 2025 is all we've heard so far. All right, the DWSP2 is the Drinking Water Source Protection Program. The project continues on. There's another meeting again this month. Water Committee, Planning Board, Hike Preserve, and attendees from Bern, considering the whole watershed, join these meetings. And in fact, I believe this project should be completed this month or supposedly the end of this year, which may give us the opportunity to seek other grant funding for projects in relationship to that. Last month I was here and I reported there was a leak in the Methodist Hill pump vault that has been contained with the help of Andre Nadeau. And there was a suggestion that somebody had gone down into the vault and caused the leak by accidentally stepping on a pipe or a connection that is easy to step on if you go down the ladder. So we have since secured that vault. There's only the only people that have keys are water district support personnel. The EPA administrative order. The water district submitted a draft for disinfection byproduct rules, a monitoring plan, I'm sorry, for the DPPR. And the EPA responded with requests to make changes to our report, which we are doing as of now, because in fact, this needs to be completed by the 15th. So to keep in line with their expectations of the administrative order, we're going to be on time. The Water District Improvement Project, we're working to finalize the timeline and complete a review of the proposed test well sites with our technical assistance providers. If you remember, we're getting we won a grant for free support with various TA providers, as we call them. That includes engineering and things of that nature. So it gives us the ability to respond to this EPA order and things like that on a pretty, it makes it possible for us to do it in a timely fashion. We're also going to need to put together RFPs to go to bid for the well tests and potentially a couple of other projects that are part of design that eligibility letter for funding that we announced last month is really just for the construction project. So we still got a phase to get through. That's the design phase, and we're going to need funding for engineering and support there as well. So we continue to look for additional funding. We won't be able to rest on our laurels of that eligibility letter because that's not quite enough. And lastly, we have some terms on the water committee that have come to an end and others that need to, some folks took on the terms of others that had retired from the committee, and others are, I guess, annual requirements to re-up. So the one term that Christine Silvers had taken over has come to an end, and so she's up to renew a new term from January 29. The committee clerk, Sue Britton, new term, January to December 25. And the committee chair, myself, I have been voted to be the chair again this year, from January to December 25.
Why is the chair only 1 year?
Well, I'm a committee member and my term is longer than that. I don't know why it's a 1-year term for the chair.
I'd like to rope them in for a few years.
Did you say
Because
rope
when you
me
have-
in or vote me in? So the committee has voted on those particular seats, and so I guess that I didn't present this in advance to give you the opportunity to be prepared to vote on that if you need to accept our recommendations.
We'll do that at the organizational meeting.
There you
in
go.
January.
Okay, great.
Ed, when is your committee term up?
I
I think
was,
it's 25.
no, I think it's 26. Yeah. 4-year term, right?
Fine.
Ah.
Fine.
All right, so either 26 or 27. I looked it up, but I didn't memorize it.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, it's in this year's organizational minutes, meeting minutes. Yeah. Any questions?
No.
And that's my report.
That's good.
Thank you.
I make a motion to- I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Thanks, Ed. Okay, next up, old business, Justice Frazier and Justice Bishop. Thank you to Rick Simons. Is it Simons?
Yes.
Huh? I don't know.
Good evening. I'm sorry Rick is not with us. I wish he were. But I will have to, the first thing I would say is he's got more stick to it than any judge. He has served in that position for 17 years. He has worked with 7 judges at our last count. So this is going to be a big hole. And the thing that I think I have appreciated most about Rick over time is the very quiet, soft demeanor that he manages to maintain in the face of people who are not very happy to be here. So, in summary, I would say, Rick, you will be missed.
Well, if he had 7 judges, that means he had probably twice as many clerks he had to deal with as well. But like Muriel said, he just quietly went about his job. We knew he was there, but he was unobtrusive. He wasn't strutting around, and just directed people where they had to go because they're not sure which judge are they supposed to see, which court room are they supposed to go in. We knew he was there. He was taking care of business. Even when we had, some kind of media frenzy out here, he was right on top of crowd control and that type of thing at that particular time. And then after, when everybody was leaving, it was always nice to have a nice conversation with Rick a variety of topics, whether we were talking about our days in the military or things going on in town or elsewhere or whatever. So I'm gonna miss him. It was always nice having him around here. As they say in the military and law enforcement, I knew he had my six. So we're gonna miss him. Hopefully we have somebody coming in that will be a good replacement if possible. So, thank you.
Okay. Excuse me. And thank you, Rick, if you're listening, for your service. Next up, we have the memorandum of agreement with the union amending the pay rates. I need an authorization to sign that memorandum of agreement. You guys all have a copy of that. It was a 6%.
I move we authorize Supervisor Dalton to sign the memorandum of agreement with the International Union Local 158. I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carried. I'll take care of that. The Bow Trust, we pretty much went in depth with that, so it just needs further conversation. Under new business, we have to schedule a date for the organizational meeting. So.
The date for final. We have a
Jan-
regular meeting on the 26th. No, it's January.
January 2nd or January,
Yes, we do have one the 26th, but this is.
Yeah.
Then we also got a need for. Both dates work for me. The 2nd and the 6th.
the 2nd or the 6th.
Either way.
Vicky,
I'm good either way.
Is it done on the 6th or the 2nd?
let's just do it the 2nd.
Yeah, I'm good with 2nd.
Okay,
What time?
Can we have a motion for that, please?
what time?
6 or 7, 6?
Whatever's good for you guys.
What day of the week is that?
That's a Thursday, so whatever's good for you, because I'm here already.
I'd have to do it at 7.
That's fine. All right, I move we have the organizational meeting on January 2nd, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Authorization to place a legal notice for the collection of the 2025 town county taxes. I make a motion that we authorize town clerk to place legal notice for the collection of the town taxes, 25.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next up is acceptance of Mackenzie Snyder and Nick Snyder as new members of the Medusa Volunteer Fire Company. Did the fire company send you a letter for that?
They did. They actually came up.
Okay. So that's their recommendation. Yeah, I don't have an issue with that, so I'll make a motion to accept Mackenzie Snyder and Nick Snyder as new members of the Medusa Volunteer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried.
All right.
Okay, any other audience comments?
I think he's right. My term as a committee member does end next December, the 2025.
Really?
Yeah, so
Not a problem.
my chair.
I just gave you another 5 years, don't worry about it.
So, well, I'll have to-
You're in.
hard. Well, not hard.
You
This
can't,
time next year.
you can't leave until the job is done.
You're done, that's right.
Right? Just like my term is up December of 25 also.
Is that- You
I'm,
can't leave either.
exactly, so I have to finish what I started.
Alright.
So,
Can you be the chair without being the one committee?
no,
I don't think it works that way.
Annually?
You're what we call a lifer.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah, we gotta share the first cup of clean water. All right, any other audience comments? If not, I make a motion that we have to go into executive session to discuss contractual negotiations.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.